Wilbo presents Trading Cards, a roundtable of stories with today's brightest personalities in art, sport, and culture. On today's episode of Trading Cards, we're joined by our good friend, Connor Wood, best known as Fibula. Connor is a comedian, entertainer, and actor who rose to success out of the ashes of layoffs in the pandemic, where he developed a loyal audience with his relatable rants about life. Connor brings wit and a refreshing perspective in every way. Over a few beers, we had a laugh alongside Connor and reflected on his path, career, and where he's headed next. I'm Robbie McInerney, and alongside my brother Will, welcome to Trading Cards.
Introducing Connor Wood.
Hi, Mr. Connor.
We're gonna plug in the clap noises. Applause.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no.
I'm stoked to be here.
Super excited to have you here. I think we had to go through the ringer a bit today.
Oh my God, you guys! We had to go to the ringer. We had to go back from the ringer because we forgot something at home. And then when we got back to the ringer, the receptionist said, "Oh, you're gonna need to fill out this form." And I said, "Well, I didn't bring a pen, so I had to go back home to get a pen to fill out the form to go through the ringer."
Did you have a key when you went back to?
No, and I didn't have the key. Should I give some context?
Yeah, let's give some
about
context.
What the ringer is.
Yeah.
All right, the ringer in this case was today. I was coming up here. We planned a couple days ago to come up here, film this podcast at 3:30.
When did we plan this?
Was it yesterday or a couple days ago?
It was. There was a specific time, I think, last weekend.
Who else? Okay,
we'll get to that.
Who else is losing concept of time?
Yeah, in this analogy,
especially in that weird time in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I always say that time is a human construct, and I'm joking.
You always say that?
We have to abide by this thing: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, weekdays, Saturday, Sunday, weekends, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. That's numerics. Yeah. Now, in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, fuck it.
No.
It all goes to the wind. Nothing is real. So when I plan to do certain stuff, I'm like, they won't hold me to it. That being said, we planned for 3:30 p.m. today. It is now, what time is it? It's 7:50, and we're starting the podcast.
Which is better
Hawaii
because we
time.
get to have beers.
Which means we're on time. Yeah, it's happy hour at somewhere in the world.
Someone said that.
I'm happy that we're here, and it's an hour in the day. So,
hence the concept of
when
time.
you said
being thrown out the
3:30,
window.
you meant Hawaii time.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. That works. 8. Yeah. 8:30.
Yeah, something like no.
They're 3 hours ahead.
We know math.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
Well, either way, neither of us know math, but yes, there is a bit of a story that led to this, and I don't know if I'm the right one to tell it because I may be a little concussed from it. But
all right.
Connor and I have.
Should I take the reign? I can take the baton from you if you want me to.
Yeah, let me maybe give you a setup.
Okay.
I'll be
Set
the intro. So Connor and I haven't seen each other in some time.
A little bit of time.
You've been, on your gig, which has been awesome to see, and we'll get into it more. But there was a small window of time where you had just done a set in LA, I believe, a stand-up.
Oh yeah, no, I did. Oh my God, yeah, I did.
Is that what you call them, sets?
Yeah, I did a show for someone. I was on someone else's show.
Nice.
I did a set on someone else's show.
So
I'm learning the lingo as well.
Me too. So we'll learn it together. But according to you, you bombed.
I did.
Which I
don't believe
can't imagine that happening.
You'd be shocked.
Tough crowd. But you'd posted, I bombed, and now I'm drinking beers, which is always an invite for me.
Yes.
And so we had been texting, and then, it kind of fell through. We were at different parts of the city, and, it was a bit of a drive for both of us. But one thing leads to the next, and, I'm going to this after party, are you still out? And I'm like, well, I did just Uber home, but I do want to see you, and, friendship. And so I did it. So I call an Uber.
Can I
Should I pass the baton now?
I'll just fill in some phrases.
I'll pass the baton now.
So basically, there's, Overheard LA.
Yes.
Great account. Overheard LA had a show hosted by Steph Daggs, and she's so brilliant, so funny. And I did a show the night before. I fucking nailed it. So I was like, I'm going to go do it again. I'm going to run it back. And I go there and I do it. And literally, guys, it was like I was doing it at an AA meeting. Like, everyone was like, I don't know how this is relevant. I'm addicted to, whatever. Or like, they're just like doing it at the dentist.
Just a tough
like,
crowd.
I'm there to like pull your tooth after I tell a joke. Like, everyone hated my fucking guts. Like, it was bananas. It was crazy. And every time that they didn't like a joke, I was like, I guess I should tell my other joke. Maybe they'll like this one. Didn't like any of them. Now, what you don't want to do is when you're bombing, ask anyone in the crowd if they have a gun. And if they have a good arm to toss it up to you on the stage. So you can just end it in the set.
Especially when you're in Florida.
Yeah, because a bunch of people throw a gun at you. Now, in Hollywood proper, no one has a gun. So, unfortunately, you just have to live through it.
Yeah.
You have to die of old age on stage.
That joke didn't land either.
So that's why I hopped off stage. They did not land. I hopped off stage and I walked outside immediately. Usually you stay through the other comedians. Like, you're like, oh, okay, I'm on a show. My set's done. And I went at the beginning and didn't land. So I was like, I'm leaving before. I can't even watch how funny the rest of the people are. I have to leave and go get drunk in Hollywood. That's the story you responded to. And you're like, I'm up here right now, but I'm going to go to West Side. And I was like thinking, I'm going to go to West Side too. And then we ended up shifting gears and going to like some rave. And then that's when.
Yeah. And so that's where I'll take the baton back and then maybe pass it back again. But so I call an Uber. I'm like, you know what was it, Friday? I'm like, it's Friday. I'm young. Yeah. I could get sleep tomorrow or the next day.
Facts.
Going back on.
Especially during this Thanksgiving to Christmas window.
Right.
Oh, time isn't real right now.
Right?
So, I was like, all right, let's do it. I haven't seen Connor in a minute. And so I call an Uber and he's like, actually, I'm here. And so then I go pick him up in the Uber. And then someone in the Uber needed to pick up their dog.
Right.
So that was another detour. We pick up a dog. It was, all the makings of a great night. Dogs, old friends, the usual things, usual suspects.
Coming off of a low.
Has the makings for rave dog.
I mean, I knew what I was getting into. I was like, I'm getting drunk tonight. I actually posted it publicly. It was public information that I was going to get drunk. Yeah. No one should be shocked by what happened next.
This is all public record. So then, we get to the place and, Connor was in the back seat. I was in the front. We hadn't properly embraced yet. And, we get to the party, we share a beer. Oh, good times. We take an embrace and that embrace turned into a Sunday night football tackle in which I fell into a fireplace that was, what would you call that material of fireplace?
Oak.
It was an oak fireplace?
It was oak.
It's hard wood. It's really solid wood.
I would say it was maybe ceramic. I don't know if ceramic's the right word, but it was a little
hard.
It was hard. But yes, so we're at this house.
I'll say that it wasn't something that if it were to happen, you wouldn't want to hit your head on this.
Yes. Nor would anyone have a gun to end it all.
You get tackled over the couch.
Well, tackled is a stretch, but
it was
sacked.
It was a subtle fall.
For a loss.
I was sitting on the ground, Will. Like, what do you want to do?
So anyways, irregardless.
Let's add the ear to the
regardless.
The ear was almost clipped by this regardless.
So yeah, my head decides to open up and share some redness, and
so he basically, like, I knocked him over on accident out of pure joy. I knocked him over
in the name of friendship, like
and he
said.
keeps going, please. I honestly was like, oh, that was funny. Please don't be bleeding. Please don't be bleeding. That's all he kept saying. Please don't be bleeding. And I was like, it's not bleeding. And then I look at my hands after touching his head, and I'm covered in blood. I'll give you guys a picture to put on visuals if you want.
Yeah, we can.
We took
a bunch of pictures.
Will send me a video, and you're like, I was cooking bell peppers and
pasta sauce,
and it just kind of happens.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah, you get something on your something on your hand.
And yeah, so to make a long story short, now we forced Connor to do this. He's here by proxy.
I wake up to a text and it reads, good news and bad news.
Yeah.
Good news is we landed Connor for a podcast, and I've been trying to track him down for a long time. Bad news is I think I need stitches in my head.
Yeah.
And
are those twist off?
Yeah.
They're twist off, and I was opening it with, God, I'm such a Coors Light novice.
I'm not going to ever tell someone.
But I opened a Coors Light for you over there, and you're like, thank you so much. And you could have been like, dude, it's a fucking twist off.
I should have said it before we were recording a podcast, but now we're recording a podcast. All American beers are
twist
twist
off.
off. All domestic beers are twist off. International, any Corona, Modelo, anything is gonna be.
Is that a testament to our? What does that mean as Americans?
Engineering.
Oh, maybe we make it so easy for ourselves.
Are we
Or
dumb
maybe
or
the
are we
engineering
brilliant?
is so good on our models that like we
advanced.
don't need another. You know, it's so weird as a capitalist country like that we don't sell another device to open the beer.
Right.
So I don't know. I really don't know what it is.
Seems outdated.
Well,
don't know.
so to wrap this story, this had happened in the wee hours of the night, and no one's making an ER
Did you
visit.
get stitches, by the way?
No, and I was
I
saving
told
that.
you you didn't need stitches.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
but
was being dramatic.
The
But
part of it that's sus is you actually keep
so let
going.
me keep going. And there's two parts to this. Is
You
one,
clowns.
you don't stitch your head, you staple it. So that was
I had a friend that was offering to super glue it as well, so let's not skip over that.
Good friend.
a great friend. But yeah, so the decision was made to not seek any professional medical advice.
I always say opt out.
Yeah, opt out.
I will never support the American medical system.
In the
Ever.
video, Connor goes, sleep it off. I'm like, that's a great call.
Yeah.
Hey, he's feeling tired. Let him sleep. He wakes up or he don't.
Yeah, you'll find out.
Little
one
sleep,
way or another.
little sleep never hurt nobody,
No,
You'd be a great sports trainer.
except football players.
get back in there,
Some
champ.
CTE action.
You should actually approach the University of Texas football team and see if they need a sports trainer for the upcoming
You know what?
bowl
College-
game.
college
I
football
might just
playoff.
do that. Let me get a couple million more followers and I'll ask. I truly in my heart believe that they're going to make American football illegal or completely revamp it in the next
Few years.
40
Yeah.
years. Like, I mean, 40 years is, I'm giving it 40 years before it's illegal completely.
I like the 40 number.
Yeah.
Imagine like 40 years from now.
I mean, they're being,
stop. You
know,
put that football down, young man.
I love football, you know, and it's like, oh, you're fucking pissed off about your grades? Take it off on East High. And then it's like, okay, well, now I graduated and I didn't go pro, so who should I take it out on? Maybe have 6 beers and take it out on your wife.
And you grew up in Texas, so you
Yeah,
know what you're
right.
talking about.
East High.
Yeah, right.
East High.
But yeah,
keep going, please.
yeah. Sorry, there's a lot of pivots in this, but
Will's
so
still
yes.
rubbing his head like I'm still trying
Wrong
to-
part of your head, bro.
So yeah, we didn't seek medical advice, and the alternative was I got home, another Uber, and I just used a towel that morning. I was like, this towel needs to be washed anyways. Let's just wrap it around my head tonight, and it'll stay because I don't.
Gauze.
Yeah, like gauze. I don't move in my sleep. Potentially, in theory, potentially. And no, I woke up and my white bed sheets were red. And so that's when I was like, okay, maybe urgent care will be a part of my Saturday. And to which it was. But to
happened?
add more to this, I never really told you this because, like we were saying
You
before,
had
that
to save it.
Save it for the pod. I go to urgent care, keyword urgent, and I show up and I said, yeah, I have a hole in my head that may need stitches / staples. And they said, you're going to need to come back at 1:45. I said, okay, that sounds great. It's 9 a.m.
I'm
So
gonna take a quick nap here.
it doesn't
Wake
seem
me
too,
up if there's a puddle.
Yeah, it doesn't
up
seem too
below.
urgent. But
There's a hole in my head. Oh, it doesn't seem too urgent.
yeah,
Great.
can you come back
We
at
got a lot of
1:45?
holes in the heads here, mostly gun wounds.
You think you're special with the hole in the head?
Okay.
No, yeah, I actually used a funny word. I wish I could remember what I used. I said I had. It was very medical. The word I used. It wasn't hole in the head.
Lazarish or whatever it's
yeah,
called.
laceration. That's
Yeah.
exactly
For
the
50
word.
points.
Laceration.
You did use the word.
I said I have a
Lazarus is a
laceration.
biblical term.
Laz with a Z.
I needed God that day.
Do you guys have Zens in?
Yeah.
Hey, our parents.
Why was I
watch
not
this
offered a
podcast.
Zen? Can I have a Zen?
Would you like
Yes.
3 or 6?
Give me 6 for the pod. Fuck it.
Great.
You're looking at this
Wait,
guy.
are your parents gonna watch this?
For sure, but it's all good.
Okay, we can cut all that.
No, it's all good. Let me just talk to our producer. I'm the producer.
Is that okay?
But anyways, as he's retrieving that, there's so many words for it that I don't even want to use one. I feel like it's run out of funniness.
What'd they say? What'd they say?
They call them like lip pillows, and
Oh.
there's plenty of funny names. That,
Sorry I didn't offer you one.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Still
as
rattled by
well.
the twist cap thing.
I was joking completely.
Yeah, now let's market it.
Yeah, maybe Zen will want to sponsor.
Well, why don't you get my buddy this? Never mind.
Okay.
Conversation.
So yeah,
Connor's like, I promise we won't cut anything.
yeah, to wrap this really, really long story, I come back at 1:45 and she takes a look at it, almost like I'm a child that had a boo-boo. She's like, "Oh, look at this! It actually healed up overnight. You don't need staples / stitches."
I told you that.
Yeah, but it was precautionary in these days and age.
One thing you're not gonna find me do
It's
is anything precautionary. I'm doing crisis. What's it called?
Management.
Crisis management in post. That's why I paid so many penalties on my 2020 taxes about a month ago.
Connor goes into a urgent care and he goes, laceration, crisis management. Now.
1:45.
I went in for a bruise on my knee that I got in 2016. It's not even there anymore.
It's been here for 4
I swear to God, there's a bruise here 4 years ago. That's you.
Yeah. What am I looking at, sir? There's a laceration.
There was
I
something
swear.
under here. I swear to God.
The
motherfucker
the
is
funniest
real.
part is I have like what I like to call a baby mullet. Maybe it's not even a mullet at all.
It's a full-blown mullet.
Oh,
It
okay,
looks
good. I wasn't sure if it was popping out.
I mean, I don't know. In Texas, if I were a Texan, I'd call that a bullet. It's kind of a good name.
Oh,
If
that's good.
Texas saw this, they would laugh at me and they said, "That's a mullet. This is not a mullet in Texas.
That's true.
This is a mullet in Los Angeles." But she was digging through my hair and she's like, "Where is it?" And I'm like, "Okay, maybe I don't need stitches if
You're good.
she's, searching." But, I guess the moral of that story is here is Connor Wood.
Now we're here.
That was it? That was the intro?
Of sorts.
It was a pretty good intro.
No, I didn't even realize. I thought we got fully into the episode.
Yeah.
My bad.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, this
Well,
is
thank
actually
you guys
are
for having
cutting-
me.
yeah.
I'm so excited to be here.
Did you not know this is a 24-hour podcast?
No, I'm excited. Here we go. We
Got
have
it.
a couple of beers. I got
Yeah, well, cheers to that.
Cheers.
We'll miss you. What's fun to think about is that I met Connor
When did we meet? I don't even know.
initially through Sarah Hewlett,
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I know. Where
Shoe
we're going.
Baby, and we would hang out on the 4th of July every summer in college, where we'd have a lot of fun in Laguna. And then Will, goes, "Hey, who's this kid Connor? Seems like you guys are buddies." And I'm like, "You guys will be fast friends. Just hang out." And now
we
you guys
were.
hang out in LA, which is really fun.
Yeah.
Full circle.
I think that's a good transition because when, going back to that night, we started talking and then, ultimately we said save it for the pod. But I was like, I don't really remember how we met and we kind of skipped a lot of steps. I remember asking you maybe 2 years ago now, I was like, "You're from Newport, right?" And you're like, very far from Newport. So I
Yeah.
really knew nothing about you, but we were good friends.
Well,
minus the
it was Sam, right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, to go back, I remember, I don't know, maybe 2018. I was like, "Who's this guy, Connor?" We, followed each other on the socials, and I see you follow him. I wanted the rundown. I was like, "Who's this guy?" And you're like, "Oh, he's really funny." And so I followed you, and you would make these hilarious videos, and I found you hilarious. Never met for years, but long story short,
And I knew Rob the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah,
and I kind of trusted if Robbie likes this guy, I will like this guy because that's what brothers do.
that's right.
But I think the first talking point is kind of your upbringing because you're not from Newport.
No.
You're from where?
Houston.
Houston,
Yeah.
Texas.
We got a problem.
I know. We got a
Trouble.
problem, Houston. It was me. That's why I left.
Want some back comfort here?
No, dude, I'm good. This couch is so comfortable.
Okay, good. But yeah, Houston. I didn't realize that as well. But yeah, tell us about growing up in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird because I was like born in Austin, and then my dad was in the military, so we moved like a lot. We lived in Guam for a while, and then we lived in Hawaii for a while, and here for a while. Here being
Wait,
like,
you just said you lived in Guam for a while?
Guam for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
What goes on in Guam?
Not shit. Like I'm not even gonna go back. Don't
Is that
care.
a U.S. territory?
It's a U.S. territory.
Mm-hmm.
Don't visit. No point. That's all I'll say.
What are we protecting? What's Guam protecting?
Guantanamo Bay.
It's just like an island that's like there, and it's like nice to have.
I like islands.
That's the most U.S. shit
trying
ever.
to-
It's
yeah.
like, this is our island.
It's nice to have.
Yeah, it's
You
great.
know?
Yeah, it's great.
You know, we just got lucky with Hawaii that they were like, okay, well, I guess we give up. You're here. But, like Hawaii's big enough, and like got a couple big islands, but like all big countries like take over islands, and it's like, oof. Like, are you sure you want?
protect the
There's
Pacific.
like people that live there, like you're going to take it over and it's like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and take it over. And the people live there are like, this is ours actually. And we're like, actually, no, now it's ours.
Well, here's a McDonald's
and we're going to
we're-
put some
it's fair.
tanks on it. Is that okay with you? And they're like, no. And then, we do. But that's it. And so I don't know what's on Guam besides U.S. military bases and a bunch of jellyfish. There's actually like a pond lake, I think.
Well, how old are you when you're in Guam?
Young, baby.
Yeah.
But then we moved to Hawaii after that and then back to California.
What's interesting
and
is
back to
that
Texas.
you don't strike me as being the son of someone who was in the military.
I know. Well, my dad wouldn't strike you as someone that's in the military either.
Besides when he kicks the dog.
That was an off-script thing.
Yeah.
We'll cut that. He doesn't kick the dog.
He doesn't kick our dog.
But anyway, so you spent a majority of your...
He doesn't kick our dog. It's dad. I got hit by a school bus.
But so you spent a majority of your time in Houston.
Yeah,
I guess,
outside of Houston.
formative
But
years.
it's like, yeah, it's a neighborhood that like, it's a neighborhood, but like outside of the neighborhood, it's like, it's golf course, like it's on the lake and tennis courts and whatever.
Right.
And then right outside is like longhorns and like cows and chickens and farmland. And then I live 17 miles from my high school, which is crazy. But the roads are 85 miles per hour. So like,
Took you 10 minutes to get there.
like not even.
The Autobahn.
To drive
all the way
17
to
miles
Yeah,
in LA.
it's
It
the
takes you 2
German
days.
Yeah, it's the Autobahn. Getting there, I was like, you could do it on your phone. Like you're like, oh, I'm like gonna open Instagram. Oh my god, I'm here. And then but that was it. Also, like the weirdest thing about Texas, and then moving to California. I know this is bad, but like it took me a while to get used to not being on my phone when I'm in the car because you're allowed to do that in Texas. Like obviously, it's like reckless driving if you're like writing a longhand letter like in your phone, like an email, but like it's
Per
in
my
bad
last.
taste, but it's not illegal.
Right.
Except in Austin, it's illegal.
I actually remember, I don't even know what year it was, but I remember when that became a law in California and then kind of the transition, and now it's like taboo.
Oh, you touch your phone here and it's like, they
Whoop.
know.
They know.
Whoop.
It is wild.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like at the airport is where I got first pulled over touching my phone. Because I was like, where are you? I'm at 6D. Okay, I'm at 5E. Like, and I was like parked and I like went to pull out and they were like, whoop, pull over. And I was like, oh, Jesus. Like,
But I'm at 5E, officer.
do you want me to park at the airport in the wrong place?
Yeah,
Like,
stop traffic. You're definitely at LAX, which is
Yeah.
the worst
Yeah.
traffic airport.
I feel like
ever.
there's a weird, like, what's fine to be on your phone. Because there's one time I was in LA doing a similar thing, looking at directions, and I was looking down, and the cop goes, on the loudspeaker, get off your phone. And I'm like, oh.
and
So
then
it's-
let you go.
Yeah, and then, they have bigger fish to fry. But, it's always like, it's subjective, like when
it's
they pull
funny,
you over.
like the stuff you are allowed to do in the car versus what you're not. Like, I can't get on my phone and text someone, what gate are you at? When I'm going literally less than 1 mile per hour.
And how do they
But
know?
I can look to the left and see a girl shaking her sweet green salad to get her dressing in. Not pulled over. She's fine. Two hands on her salad.
I once saw a guy
driving with her knee.
I saw a guy shaving on the freeway once. Like it was like bumper to bumper, and he's like fully like.
Yeah.
I'm like,
But,
that's
like,
totally fine.
I like have
respect.
I have one hand on the wheel and I'm being like BRB.
or you're
Be
like,
right there.
I'd actually like to put this song
86.
on. Yeah, it's
You know, if you
interesting.
change the song. I know. It's dangerous. I get it. But like pick your battles.
Yeah,
your
pick your battles here.
But
I'm gonna
okay.
get so much trouble for that, but whatever.
No, it's all good. But as I was saying, it's very interesting to hear that your dad was in the military and your upbringing was quite dynamic in the sense that you lived in Texas, you lived in Guam, you lived in Hawaii, you lived in California.
Ohio, actually, too.
Ohio,
You
too?
almost said
I
Ohio.
almost said- okay,
Ohio,
cool.
yeah.
Let's
you
just
did
name all
say-
the 50 states, and Connor has lived there. But you most likely moved back to Texas, went to high school in Houston, and then
Yeah.
was it always a dream for you to go to the University of Texas?
No, it wasn't at all. Actually,
dream.
I
How
had
does
like
that come
a
about? Because that's an
dream.
insane school.
Well, yeah, I know it is. Now I know that. But when I was in school, like the whole time, I was like, I had Tumblr, so like, and I was like trying to be Jay Alvarez for a second. So I was like taking pictures, and I was like traveling a lot because I had free flights because my dad was a pilot. And so like I was traveling a lot, and I was taking all these GoPro videos of like girls' butts in bikinis because that's what Jay Alvarez did. And I was like, no, Jay Alvarez did it, I have to do it. And then I like, you know, was in school in high school, and I was having a lot of fun. But I wanted to move to California the whole time. And so I like applied to Cal Poly, and I toured Cal Poly, and I was like, that's my school. I did all these schools, and then I toured UT, and I was like, oh wow,
yeah,
like that's probably it for me.
You strike me as a smart kid. I feel like humor is rooted in, you know, being intelligent. Were you smart coming out of high school?
It is so weird you said that. What was I watching last night? I was watching like an old crap. What is that guy's name? Crap, I'm not gonna remember it.
Is he an old comedian? Who is he?
He's a comedian. He's so freaking funny.
Robin Williams?
Nope, he's not that old. He's what is Diamonds? What's that? Gemstones.
Oh, Adam Sandler?
No, not that guy. No.
From Uncut Gems?
It's a show. It's a show. It's not Uncut Gems. It's Righteous.
Oh, I wish I could.
Lesions.
Let me look it up. I'm gonna save us a lot of time.
Do that.
But
Robbie,
basically, this guy, righteous.
So he was talking about comedians being borderline genius to a degree. Not that I'm calling you genius, you're welcome. But I think there is such a level of, it's a fine line, right? You look at a guy like Robin Williams, you look at a guy like even Jim Carrey, or pick your other favorite comedian, and there's a level there. What?
Comedian. That's like
Comedian
a
is
new market.
interesting.
It's like you see the ghost, but you're also funny.
Comedian.
It's Danny McBride, by the way. This guy I was thinking of.
Danny McBride. Oh,
He has
the
a show.
best.
Righteous
Eastbound and Down.
Gemstones is like popping off right
and
now.
also
But
Eastbound and Down.
Eastbound and Down. I couldn't remember anything else he was in, but last night, like, I keep finding all these weird, random shows that popped up in like 2018 that are like now making it to streaming services and being suggested for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching a lot of Reno 911 right now, and
As one does.
he has a show. Danny McBride has a show called Vice Principals, and I was watching it, with like two of my buddies, and they were like, "Whoa, this high school is like pretty big." And I was looking at it, I was like, "My high school was like 4 times this big," and because we were 6A, we like bumped up from like we hit 3A, and then we hit 4A, and then the time that we hit 4A, they were like, "You're actually too big to hit 4A," and that's when they like changed the metric to be 6A.
That's the most Texas shit I've ever heard. We don't do the A system here in California.
Oh, we hit 6A like the same time that like we would have hit 4A. So I graduated with 1,100 people, and I graduated 27th in my class.
Oh.
But I was 11 for all of high school, and then senior year I just had like a lot of fun. And so I got bumped down to 27, but I still graduated like smartest group of people.
Top percentile.
Which is so weird, which is how I got into UT. Like I didn't even, I applied, but like in Texas you get automatic acceptance.
That makes sense.
So I got into UT with no questions, but I got in for engineering, which thank God, imagine if I built a bridge, there'd be bloodshed. Like people would be dying if I built a bridge. So
Sims.
Yeah.
So I switched my major like 5 times.
Just for context, the high school that Will and I went to, and also Shu, we had 950 kids in the entire school.
That's like
we had like
4Z.
Almost 6,000, I think, in our
what was the name of the high school?
Montgomery High School.
And you guys played East.
We didn't. We I don't know. I don't know. We played like.
You weren't the star receiver.
What was your sport in high school?
I played soccer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not very good.
Get in there.
Which is funny. I was telling you about my dog, my like family dog. So it's funny because this is a story. So buckle in. But I had this family dog, Rusty, and like there was one game. It was my freshman year. I got moved up to varsity for like this game.
Okay.
And I was like
shot.
starting. I know it was a big deal. And I was like getting ready to go out, and then I'm putting my shin guards in, and my cousin texted me and was like, OMG, Rusty got hit by an 18-wheeler. And I was like, he's never been around an 18-wheeler, and then there's not an 18-wheeler in a gated neighborhood, you know? So I'm like, what is that?
I hate that Will's laughing.
And no, it's fine. It's funny now, guys. Like, it's funny, okay? So I put my shin guards in, I go out and I go in the field, and then I'm like, whatever, like that's an annoying bitch comment. And then I go out on the field and I look up at my mom and she's not wearing makeup. And I'm from Texas. Like the mom's like, get dressed out for high school games. And I'm like, my God, whatever. Like my dog's dead, you know, like my mom's been crying, you know. And turns out my dog got hit by the school bus, not a bus. So like she heard bus and she's from Newport Beach. So she was like, oh, a 18-wheeler is like a bus to her. So he got hit by the school bus. And like, I learned later that like, because every day he would go out and get on the school bus with the kids and ride it to the end of the neighborhood and then run home.
No, he did not.
And he would like say hi to all the kids and then get off at the end.
All of a sudden I'm crying.
Ever, I know.
And it's fine. And
like
he would get up, whatever. So he got up that day and like it was raining and he like slid too far and like couldn't stop and then got hit by the bus. Split in half. The school bus driver gets off, picks up his body, split in half, and is like crying in the yard. Oh no! My parents were telling me that like all of the like in Texas, there's 2 times that people go to school. There's the earlier time, which is all the high school kids, and then the younger kids go later because they start later. We started like 7 and they started like 8:30 or 9, whatever. And so they had gone earlier and he got killed. So I was already at school, whatever. And the whole bus is screaming kids. My parents were like, it was madness, whatever. It's funny now thinking about Miss Rhonda getting out of the school bus and like holding my dog's dead body, Rusty, and just like crying into it. My dad buried him in the backyard, whatever. Oh. We get this new dog that we still have, still
replacement
alive.
dog.
Yeah, that's what you said. There was the replacement
dog. This dog's an asshole. He
Dusty.
like has Saki. Saki's never been disciplined in his life because he was like the replacement dog. We worshipped him. My whole family worshipped him. And now he's a dick and he runs the house and my dad's obsessed with him. Now like my sister's moved out, you know, we're moved out. And so my dad like, I went back last time. I was like, why is he so fat? My dad like feeds him whatever he eats. Like he goes to Whataburger, which is only Texas, and like gets him his own burger. And I was like, he's so fat. And my mom was like, talk to your dad. And he's like feeding him burgers. And so I was in New York for New York Comedy Fest doing some stand-up stuff. And I get a text from the same cousin saying, OMG, did you hear about Saki?
Oh no.
I'm about to go out on my first set.
Short bus got him?
First set at New York Comedy Fest, and I was like, fuck you, bitch. I blocked her number immediately. I was like, read the fucking room. Why do you always do this when I'm about to go do something important? Like, it's never like I'm in sound mind and body and I'm like resting and I just showered and washed my face. It's always like when I'm about to do something important.
Is this Logan?
It's Logan. Oh my God, I forgot you know Logan. Yeah, it's Logan.
It makes so much sense.
And the bearer of bad news, literally. She loves delivering bad news. I'm like, let my parents text me that. And so I text her, fuck you, bitch. And then I blocked her number and I blocked her on everything. So she couldn't give me any more information because I was like, my dog died and I'm about to go on stage again and like whatever. And so like 5 days later, my sister texted me. I was like, did you hear about Saki? And I was like, what happened? And she's like, he's been missing for 3 days. We just found him in the woods. He chased a deer in Texas for like miles and miles and miles. And then they found him and he's fine. He's alive. And like just an old, now he's 13, which is crazy. I'm that far out of.
It'd be like, really funny if you're like, yeah, Saki won a Nobel Prize. And you like block.
He's now, yeah, he cured cancer. No.
Connor goes, hey, buckle in. He's like, so here was the scenario. I was putting my shin guards in and I get a text. And my dog got hit by a bus. I'm like, what just happened?
I know, it's
I
hard.
Look at Will and Will's crying, laughing over there. You're fucking going to hell.
No, that's, I mean, it's full circle. He's still alive, but I gotta hand it to Saki for giving me a run for my money at my
Go Saki.
show.
That's good. Go Saki.
Yeah.
Go Saki.
That's great.
How did we get here?
Well, anyways, this is what Texas is like.
This was a perfect depiction of what it was like growing up in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
So then,
yeah, go ahead.
I guess, I mean, unless you have something else to say, I was going to segue into.
I was going to ask you about the University of Texas because you went in as a potential engineer major.
Yeah.
And what did you transition into?
So I transitioned into a woman, and I transitioned back. No, I transitioned twice, actually 3 times. I went from
women
communications.
to
Or actually, I went from engineering into business. And then business was so, like, it's so cutthroat there that I was like, I hate this.
It was just not fun.
No, I also failed twice in calculus. I failed twice in calculus, and then I like went a third time, and the professor passed me, which is like not great because I know I was going to office hours every single time. Like I was working really hard to get it,
Yeah.
but I just like couldn't get it. You know, like it's just not made for me. I was trying so hard to learn it. And it was weird because I remember texting my parents being like, I am not smart. Like, I'm not, you know I graduated like 27th in my class out of like 1,100 people, whatever. But I'm not cut out for UT Austin. Like, these are smart people. And then they make you take classes that are like outside of your realm of like, you know, if you're doing engineering, you take an advertising class, you know, and I took an advertising class and I was like, oh my God, I actually understand Doritos. So I switched my major into advertising.
Cool.
And advertising made sense to me. And I was like stoked on it. And I was like, oh my God, the whole time this J. Alvarez kick that I've been on has been about like making content and stuff for brands. And I liked doing that. And it was like, oh, J. Alvarez is doing ads. And this is before influencers. Like influencers to me at that point were like hot chicks doing like sunscreen
or like bar stools, like what was it, like bikini girls?
Yeah. It was that. Yeah. That's what it was to me. So I was like, that's not what I want to do. I want to do like big time stuff. So I did advertising. I went to school for the next 3 years, which advertising, and there were several times in college when I was like, this is it for me. Like I have to fail out and like I'm gonna fail and it's gonna suck. And then I would get through it and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to make it. And then I applied to like get jobs at these agencies. I couldn't do it. And then I applied to Vans.
That's right. That was your first gig?
That was my first thing was Vans. Yeah, it's so funny.
That's wild. But it makes sense. I mean, I think creatively speaking and from a marketing background, going in and just knowing who you are, it was a perfect fit. And so you like went, again, speaking of ringers, you went through the ringer at UT with an engineering potential, then back to business, and then into marketing. And I think from what I've just seen, you've most likely been able to incorporate a little bit of all of that into now what you do today.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm hoping to go back that way too, because it's so funny like looking back at like young man, like you were there like the whole time. It's so funny thinking about it.
That's what's so funny. I can't wait to talk about it.
But thinking back to like Vans, like I didn't get the internship. I didn't get an internship at Vans. It was like they were working on a collegiate. They hired an agency, which now I totally get because I like worked on that side eventually once I got to Bumble. But I got like this one of my friends had sent me like they're looking for. This is so out now. Like it's not even a thing anymore. But they were looking for college ambassadors, you know? And so they would send me like 40 pairs of white Vans and they'd be like, do an event and like dye them and stuff at college to like convince people at UT to like buy these shoes. And I was like, that's not going to work. No one at UT is going to buy. I remember the first time I wore Vans at UT and they were like, those are nurses' shoes. They were
Really?
slip-on Vans. They were like, those are traveling nurses' shoes.
You're an RN.
Yeah. And so I started doing this stuff, and then I was like, I'm gonna film it with my like digital camera, and I like made some edits, and they were shitty as crap, and I sent them in, and it got like noticed by their marketing team, and they were like, oh, like this is really good, and I was like, oh, I'm from California because I have family here, and I was like, could I like come shadow during Christmas break? And I came in. Brought a notebook. It's so embarrassing. Like, sat in during Christmas break for one whole day because one of the guys had gone to UT, and I was like, "Can I sit with you and like just take notes?" And there was stuff like ROI or no, yeah,
ROI.
return on investment, and I was like, ROI equals return on investment. I was like writing down all the terms that they were saying, and like in my head, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm fucking killing it! Like this is so incredible," and it really like. It's so embarrassing to think back that that's the notes I was taking. And I left, and that day though that I was in the office though in like Irvine, I think it is now. But I was there and I was taking these notes, and then I got so many people's emails that like when I left, I emailed, and I got like a 3-year internship at Vans, and it was not doing anything, but I was just like their point person if they needed anything.
Yeah,
so like on my resume, it looked like I was an intern at Vans. And then I got the official internship at Vans at the office, and it was the worst experience of my life.
Really?
Yes. It was 9 to 5 in the office that had no windows, and it was like,
Is this the one that's like right off the 405?
it was the old one, so it was off Catella and Cypress. And you show up,
Find it.
and it's no surprise that almost everybody that I worked with is now gone, because they probably hated their lives. But you'd show up, and I'd show up at like 9:02, and I remember one day I showed up at like 9:02 because traffic, and like I'm from Texas where you drive 85 miles per hour, but here it's like there's traffic everywhere all the time. So I'd show up at like 9:02, and they'd be like, "Oh, look who decided to show up." I'm like, "It's 9:02, and I finish all my work at 11 max," you know, and then I have to sit here till 5. Like, God forbid I show up 2 minutes late and then finish my work like 6 hours early, which I always do. And so I remember saying that to them. I was like, I have nothing to do for 6 hours, and I just sit here. And they were like, oh. And then they gave me so much shit to do. So I learned a bunch of shit there, like the website coding and all this stuff that no one else wanted to do.
That's
so
great.
I did that, and that's how I ended up, getting my job at Bumble later. But
with Bumble, you kind of parlayed off of that kind of ambassador program model to a degree.
yeah, like I took that, like I went back to school, and then I eventually was like, I can't, like, I mean, there's nothing for me to do at Vans. So I was like, sayonara. And then in school, I was like starting this internship at Vans, and I actually started Chameleon Cold Brew, which is popping off now. They got acquired, but
No way.
doing a bullshit job at Chameleon Cold Brew. And then I moved to Bumble and like convinced them that I could do digital marketing, and I was lying.
You have to.
I got the job somehow after I did that, and then I like went in there and learned how to do my entire digital marketing job, and then moved from there.
But I mean, from what I saw, you were pretty integral at Bumble. It was also during a period of time where dating apps kind of came on the scene. There was Tinder. Bumble came in as the refined kind of option in the dating app scene. And
are you speaking from experience?
Yeah, for sure. Connor and I got the blessing.
Speaking from experience.
For sure. Connor and I got the blessing of being in college during a time when social media was at its peak.
Yeah.
From Snapchat to Instagram to even Facebook at that time. People were still on Facebook to a degree.
Right.
But on the dating app scene.
In college, you had to be on Facebook.
Totally. But from what I saw.
During our time.
Yeah, during our time. You're a few years younger.
Oh, me too.
From what I saw, you were pretty close with the founder, Whitney Wolf.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And that's what ended up like working out really well for me, was that it was a small company, so like everyone was very close.
Yeah.
But it worked out really well. But I got pulled on full time like while I was still in school, so I actually I wasn't able to finish classes. And I told them, I was like, I was about to go to Spotify because I had an offer from Spotify, and then I was like, I have this thing in Austin. I wanted to stay in Austin, and I was friends with Whitney and everybody, and I was like, I gotta stay here. And it was good. It was really good. I'm glad I did that. But that was it.
Yeah, it was cool to see.
Yeah.
And then at what point do you leave Bumble to come to LA to work for Bird?
When I was fired.
Wait, how did you get fired? What happened there? We skipped over a huge chapter there, I guess.
Long story. I signed a lot of documents not to talk about it, but I got fired, and then I got this offer from Bird to come here, and then I took it, obviously, and because I wanted to come here like the whole time. I wanted to move out of Austin the entire time, because Austin ends up being, at least when I was there, I don't think it's like that anymore, which is crazy, but I was born in Austin, by the way, but the time I spent there, I knew every single person. Now I don't, but every single person I knew. And then I was like, I need to get out of here. I need to go to New York, or I need to go to LA. I need to go somewhere. And then I got this offer from Bird in LA in Santa Monica, and I was like, I'm going to go there. And they gave me 2 weeks to move there, which is crazy.
Sent you a Bird scooter to traverse across.
Oh my god!
To take 85 across the Autobahn.
It was so crazy. I had to get an Airbnb because I couldn't find a place to live in 2 weeks. So I got this Airbnb, and the whole time I'm in this Airbnb with this woman, I got an Airbnb thinking I'm gonna like have my own place in LA. I was on 11th Street in Santa Monica, and it was very cool to live like 11th Street in Santa Monica. You can walk everywhere, and it was also like bird scooter away from the office. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. Though I didn't realize I was renting a room in a woman's apartment, and she's 40.
Yeah, I have a story
and
about that
I'm
too.
22. I'm 22.
Continue,
And she's like 40,
please.
and she would like hang her underwear and stuff like off of the shower that we shared to dry. And I was like, why is your bra so wet? You know, like, what were you doing earlier? And so that was like a bad experience as well. And then I moved I found this person on Facebook that had like a composite photo from like a fraternity. And I was like, I'm just out of college too. This will be great. He's 32. Like, he still had his composite photo as his
Using the composite.
So that was horrible. Like,
Bad
needless
sign.
to say,
Yeah.
that was horrible. And then COVID hit, and like Bird shut down. Obviously, you can't go outside, especially in LA. You couldn't go outside. You couldn't touch a bunch of handles that other people were touching. So that was bad. And then, so my friend Kenzie was like, like my dad has this place in Newport that he usually rents out for the summer, but like we can stay there. It's not really renting right now because of this like flu that's going around. Like, I don't know, that people are scared. So we can go stay there for 2 weeks if you guys want to. And that was right when my office was like, oh, like we're going to take the week off just to see like what this thing is.
Let's gauge the situation.
Yeah.
here.
And then, so I went down there for a little bit, and then like that week I got a call. Or I got put on a meeting, which is so weird. Did you guys have like corporate jobs at all, or
I was still playing sports.
you were playing sports? Did you?
No, I was working kind of half in LA and film, and then half on another project.
So like the corporate job of it all is you get put in these meetings, and like you don't know who you're in the meeting with ever, and like you get a Gmail invite. It's like, join this meeting, and like I was on a call with my boss at the time, remote. Which remote work did not exist in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, Zoom is like a new word.
It was a very new concept.
Yeah.
We weren't even doing. We were doing. We didn't really do video calls unless it's like we're talking to a client or like someone, like a different group of people, like a different company or something. And so I get put on this Zoom call, and my boss is like, "Oh, who'd you get put on a Zoom with?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I'll send you the invite." And she's like, "Oh, okay." I sent her the invite. She's like, "Oh, I was invited to that." And it was like a bunch of it was an internal meeting. And so I like go sit down, and it's a black screen, and it's like half the people I know at the company and then half people I don't know at the company. And then I looked, and I was like, 1,000 people in the meeting. It was so weird. And it was a pre-recorded voice. I was like, "Hello." And it was our CMO at Bird. "Hello. As we know, COVID has rattled the industry. We want you to know that you're a valuable part of this company. That being said, you're terminated." And that was basically it. And then my computer shut off. My like company issue computer shut off and then wiped. And then you couldn't even open your computer. Like, you open it. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? I guess I was fired. Like, I don't know. I came out of the room that I was in Newport, and I was like, I think I just got fired. And I called like my boss. She was like, "I just got fired too." I was on that meeting, like whatever, and like everybody was like reeling, you know, like I just got fired. And then came up to LA and like moved my stuff out, and then I was in Newport for a year.
Hence why I thought you were from Newport.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I met a lot of people in Newport like after I got fired.
Okay, that period of time though, where you were living with Logan and some friends on the peninsula in Newport was A1.
Epic.
Well,
No, it was
it's
amazing.
transformative, and that's what we'll get into. I feel like that's like
No,
a
that was
huge
great.
chapter in your life.
Well, I have two stories on that note. The first being, and it's a vivid memory for me, I think, because I think all of us during that period of time where COVID kicked on. You want a beer?
Oh, no, I was just
Oh,
playing
I
it
thought
down.
you were whistling over. That period of time where COVID kicked in, it's very visual and emotional in so many ways because we know where we were, what we were doing, and how it impacted our lives.
Oh, I'm still a proponent that we should like celebrate, take 1 week off in March every year and just sit inside.
That's actually like, the COVID break.
It'd be a sick holiday.
Global holiday.
That's really an idea. I like that.
Isn't that be sick?
Yeah.
Start a petition. But so, Connor and I had obviously become close over the years and would spend time in the summers together and all that stuff. Look at this.
Yeah.
I know. And I was like, Connor, dude, I miss you. Let's link up in LA. Let's connect. Love to catch up, hear how life is, yada, yada. And so he goes, great, come up. If you're in LA, like, let's link. And so I think we go to a restaurant called Huckleberry.
Oh my God, that's right. Yeah, we went to Huckleberry.
See,
which
I still remember the name.
I would never go back to, but that's special.
So we go to Huckleberry, and you had ridden your bird scooter to
from
Huckleberry.
work.
From
right.
work.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I just cruised over from work. Here's where we are. Obviously pre-pandemic and everything that hit. And I just wanted to catch up. I was like, what's the latest? How's Bird? How was Bumble? What's life looking like now? And essentially what you told me was it's been good. I'm still trying to figure out this role. LA has been a blast, but I don't know. I mean, Bird's kind of so. And I was like, oh, I get that. And I vividly remember you telling me after I asked the question, like, if you weren't to do Bird, like, what would that look like for you? And you're like, I don't know. Have you heard of this thing called TikTok? And I'm like, no, what the hell is TikTok? And that's who I learned from what TikTok was. And you're like, well, TikTok's kind of like a combo of Vine and Instagram. It's cool. It's like kind of short form videos. And I'm just kind of messing around with that. And then we kind of, wrapped from our little lunch, and you tried to ride your Bird scooter back to the office, and it broke down. So I had to pick you up and then drive you to work.
Yeah.
I was like, so the Bird thing's not working out, huh?
The Bird got fired too.
The Bird got fired.
That's so funny.
But that was a vivid memory for me, and it's just ironic to think that's how it all
wasn't that telling
unfolded.
too about what the future holds? Future holds for Bird, because they just went under. Actually, like 2 days ago.
No, you're kidding.
No. Did you guys not hear that?
No, I know Lime was struggling too.
They went fully, they're done. Like, Bird's done.
Wow.
They went under. They were valued at, I think they raised $100 million, and they were valued at $225 million, and they just went bankrupt. They're done.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I did not hear
Well,
that.
there's a...
I could have told you that, by the way, when I got there.
The culture was just not it.
No, it just like up top was not run very professionally. I could tell you stories if I didn't sign an NDA about the people up top, but it is just like none of these companies that usually unicorns, like companies like that, like unless you hire some people on that are ruin the company, like internally, like you're not going to have a company that lasts.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not going to have a company that like operates really well and everyone's stoked and having fun and drinking at, a happy hour in the office. Like that rarely works.
Right.
Bumble's the one that worked.
That's fair. I mean, it makes sense because it's maybe a dating app, which is kind of like
Different culture.
Yeah. But no, there's a fun ending to that story, which, I don't know how we segue into that, but maybe we just segue into you start making more TikToks now that you're laid off from.
Yeah.
You had more free time.
Yeah, I had all the free time in the world.
So basically what I was going to say though is, you start making TikToks.
Yeah.
It starts gaining traction. I knew you were funny. People soon find out you are also funny. It starts getting a lot of traction. Robbie sends you a bunch of Wilbo hats.
No, the funny thing is I go, Connor, like, hey dude, so sorry about the Bird thing. Pandemic, crazy time. Like, I'd love to come hang out and catch up, whatever. You're in Newport now? Great, let's link up. And so I drive up and see Connor in Newport, and I go, by the way, I'm working on a little project, and it's a lifestyle apparel brand. We seek to do X, Y, and Z. I'd love to drop off a little hat and t-shirt for you. Like, you're one of my buddies. And that's part of obviously branding and marketing 101 is seeding product on the right people in the early days. I was like, Connor, he's the man. Great. I'd love to give you a hat and a t-shirt. So I drove up, we hung out for a little bit. I gave you a hat and a t-shirt. And the irony of all of this, not to kind of jump to conclusions, Buzz, to a degree, but the irony there was I give you a hat. You start wearing the hat. You start kind of investing further into the TikTok platform as a form of expression. And we're 2 days out from when we launched the brand, and we had a landing page. And I went to sleep one night, and I woke up the next morning, literally 1 day before we launched the brand. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, is this a glitch? Like, we just had like 30 hat orders overnight. Like, there's no product. I start freaking out. Like, what the hell is going on? And then I get a TikTok video sent to me of you wearing the hat. And so your audience had gone onto the website, figured out a way to kind of hack the back end to a degree, and they ordered hats. And so the irony is that because of your kind of story and progression into the TikTok space, those were our first
Oh my
customers.
God. No, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
Oh my God.
That's a
Oh
little
my God.
Easter egg.
That hypes me up. I
Yeah,
love
that's an
that
Easter
so
egg.
much.
You're responsible for our first customers.
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Holy
go.
shit. I love that so much, dude. And you guys deserve it. Like, I keep saying
Love
it
you.
over and over again. Like, you guys make good quality products. Like, this is a company that from the start, like I told you, I was like, you guys, no one else can do it like you can. You have good taste in stuff. Like, obviously, you're going to make a good product. And obviously, I'll wear it. I told Will last week, I was like, I need more stuff. Like,
Yeah.
But I love your stuff. I wore the fuck out of it, actually. Like, I wore it until I died. And people begged me to take the hats, and I gave them to them. Because like, sometimes people are like, we love this hat so much. I'm like, if you love it so much, like, wear it. Like, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
yeah, no,
that was kind of a funny side note story on two
No.
fronts with when, the kickstart of your career in many regards with TikTok and stand up.
oh my God, I love that.
And then also with our, parallel story as well.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
That's
That's
why-
the first time I've heard
Yeah.
that.
That's why Will
Save it
said,
for the pod.
save it for the pod.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Isn't that cool?
I'm emo right now.
But with that, no, kind of where I want to take this is like, what was, I think, for a minute there, you're like, I just like making, funny videos. And then, it picks up traction and you're like, oh shit, now I have kind of a bit of a following, maybe some expectations, maybe, new opportunities coming your way. And you're really starting to kind of level with the idea of content creation, with all that.
Yeah.
What was that kind of time like for you? Obviously in a weird 2020, 2021.
Well, I also want to say that, like, not that anything's wrong with being an influencer, but like, that was never my intention.
Right. And I remember you telling me that, and I'm like, dude, I never, like, I think you were maybe like scared of being whatever that was. And I never kind of,
I
the
truly
connotation
see it
was,
as an artist that recognized there was a platform for expression for him.
yeah.
Well, it was funny because when I was doing my stuff, like, I didn't have like, oh, this is this Alex Earl person where it's like, she's doing this thing and like, we all need to watch it. I had a very slow,
Yeah.
I mean,
slow
it's
burn.
fast. It's all perspective, but like, or it's all relative. But like, I didn't have a video that like shot me to the moon,
Right.
Like, it was all very, I watched as one hit 40,000 views, and the next one was like 50,000, 60,000, 100,000. But it wasn't like, oh, boom, like, this is the person that like does this XYZ. It was like very much like very slow. And it's like, oh, okay.
Which is another crazy kind of irony or ironic part to marketing. We always talk about leave enough room for discovery in the story. And so you would put yourself out there and you created these different, call it, forms of content. And people were like, I don't quite yet know what this is yet, but it's very entertaining and funny.
Well, when I started, no one was doing comedy on TikTok at all. Like, it was dancing, it was lip syncing. It was very clear cut, like, what people were doing. But my thing was like, I remember in my head being like, okay, I'm going to do some really funny, absurd videos. And then I'm going to do an actual talking video. And then my talking video, just to the screen, I remember Emma Chamberlain liked one of my videos and I was like, oh, maybe this is what I could do. 'Cause she just talks, like people like her talking. And I was like, maybe I could just talk. And I started talking. And then I was like, oh, people like talking. And then I started writing bits. And I was like, oh, this is like a thing. By the way, whole time during 2020 when I was like living in Newport.
Applying for jobs.
I'm applying for jobs the whole time. I applied to 100 jobs, and I'm not even exaggerating. I think I had 250 interviews. I had several, and those are interviews that are like same company, 4 or 5 time interviews.
Really?
Yeah, and then that's what kind of took off. That was what happened at first. Was I was like going back to my phone and being like, I just had an interview, and I said, instead of excuse me, I said squeeze me, which like didn't go over well, obviously. And then I said I'd like to share with you, and I said I'd like to shart with you, and I'd share stuff like that, and people are like, that's really funny. And I was like, it's not that funny because I don't have a job.
Yeah, like it's funny to you.
Basically, like to be fully transparent, like I got several asked to like interview with agencies to like sign me, which at that point I like didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
So I did a couple of those, and I was like, I'm looking for a job. Like I don't want to be an influencer. Like I was being a real asshole, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I didn't take it seriously, and then I remember UTA reached out, and that was when I like realized. I was like, okay, I'm gonna like see what happens when I like take this seriously. And they were like, are you gonna keep applying to jobs, or are you gonna take this seriously? And they're like, can I take this seriously? Yeah. In my head, I was like, oh, I could do this as a job. So then that was when I was like, oh, okay, I can do this like full time. And that was the first time I did it. And it's funny because the first brand deal I did was for Bumble.
No way.
Yeah, it got taken away because
NDA.
well, I went not even NDA. I had gone to Aspen.
Oh, I think you told me this. Continue that.
At the end of COVID, and they were like, well, it's a bad look for us that you're traveling during COVID. And I was like, COVID like ended low key.
Hey.
And I'm vaccinated or whatever. Like,
here's my card.
Don't know what to say.
Yeah, what do you want me to just be in my room?
They took it back, and it didn't even matter. But I remember being like, oh, that's the end of the world. Like I traveled.
This is kind of a small segue because I'm just curious. Is there, when you think about that time, I feel like that time in Newport was like it probably feels so strange to you now, especially now that we're out of COVID.
It's alien.
Is there like one maybe bit or video that you did that like you remember very vividly? Oh, good.
Robbie has fallen over for audio listeners. He's having a seizure.
Or do you have like a favorite one or one that's like maybe did so well that it means more to you? I don't know.
Honestly, no. Like they're all really special. Like when I look back at like COVID videos, I'm like, I miss him. Yeah,
it was like in the weirdest way, and that's maybe why I said we should have a holiday. It was like the silver lining was it was kind of beautiful.
I'm able to recognize it. Like that's a lot of people's worst time of their lives. They lost like grandparents and parents.
Yeah, let me be sensitive. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, what's cool about that though is that you provided some light and also humanizing factor.
That was my job. Like that is my job. Like I'll never acknowledge like the horrible things that are happening. It's not that I don't care. It's like that's not what I do.
What am I gonna do about it?
Yeah, so I don't.
Right.
It's not that I don't acknowledge it. It's just you don't hear me acknowledge it. I do it privately, but I do jokes. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So I did jokes the entire time. Like I never like talked about COVID. I never talked about blah blah blah. But it was fun for me. Like that was the best year of my life, 2020, for me.
Yeah, when you were living with cousins and friends in Newport.
Yeah,
and there was no expectation around what you were doing.
It should have been the worst time of my life. I got fired for the second time at 23. And I could not get a job. I literally didn't know what was going to happen to me after COVID. I was like, every now and well, I don't talk about this, but like at night, I would be like, what the fuck? Like, what happens when everyone's back in the office and I don't have a job? I can't get a job.
Yeah.
You know?
Can't put this one on the resume.
No, you can't. And then the TikTok thing took over, and then I like started making a little bit enough money to be like, off of unemployment, and I was on unemployment at the time. I was off unemployment enough to where my dad was like, you are literally not allowed to use the government's money anymore. And I was like, hey, you like hated the government. But like
I can't go to the grocery store and just get some food stamps? And
no, my dad was like big time like get a job.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I guess it's kind of, I think what I was talking to Robbie about before this was I was like, what's been really impressive to see is obviously we've kind of seen the trajectory of all of it. And I think what's challenging in this day and age is, you see a lot of viral things. Tomorrow morning we could wake up and there's a new viral moment.
Right.
What's really hard is to kind of land that plane and to create kind of a career or whatever you want to call it, as an entertainer, as a comedian, whatever. And to watch what you've done, and to now you've leaned into stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And you have a podcast, BNC MAP.
BNCMAP. Burke and Connor make a podcast.
There you go.
Yeah. Which is amazing.
That was a placeholder, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm glad you... did you just change it, right?
No, we rebranded the cover art, but BNCMAP were supposed to be like
It's like Brand X.
well,
It's
it was
like when
supposed to
you're
be
naming a company.
like whoever and Nori make a porno. Like that was supposed to be
Yeah.
like the whole
The shtick.
joke.
Yeah.
And they were like, "What do you want it to be named?" And I was like, "Let's just put this here as like a placeholder, and then like we'll change it later to be like a word, And then it's stuck and people like it. So it's BNCMAP now.
I like that. I like it, though. I think you got to have the acronym.
I mean, you remembered it, BNC MAP.
I say MAP, though, because it's a word.
Map. I know it sticks.
Yeah. But anyways, no, to see you kind of land that, and like, so you could think about so many different viral moments that come and go, but not that you were necessarily a viral moment, but I'm just saying in the sense that you've kind of established yourself as an entertainer, and now you've gone into stand-up comedy. And, we talked about it the other night. I'm so fascinated with that whole world, and kind of maybe the introduction to that. I'm sure, I find myself being somewhat of a fan of comedy, and I know there's a lot of clicks and a lot of, I've been on the road doing it doing it a certain way. And then you see kind of the internet people kind of come in, and I'm sure there's kind of like a stigma of like, oh, you don't know, you're not proven. How is that?
And just I want to parlay off that really quickly, because even to a degree, I think that pre-COVID, stand-up comedy was relatively niche. It was enjoyed by a lot of people, but it was still relatively niche. I mean, Netflix comes out with specials on Dave Chappelle or Shane Gillis or Chris D'Elia, or pick your favorite comedian. But it wasn't until kind of COVID kicked on where people recognized stand-up comedy as a viable option for insanely entertaining like art and content. And so to parlay off of that,
maybe on like a mass scale, like you say, it was very like, there was cult following. There was obviously like, there's amazing stand-up places in Hollywood and in Austin and all over the country.
From my perspective too, as someone that's not as versed in it, but it was still relatively underappreciated.
Right.
And like whether it's the like podcast medium or, stand up and like documenting those stand up shows, it didn't really kick on until COVID like became a thing.
I agree.
Yeah, it's almost like there's this affinity for longer form. I mean, ironically with TikTok, obviously short, quick videos that make you laugh, whatever, you scroll to the next one. But with that, podcast blew up, stand-up comedy, all those long form, 3 hour, or I guess stand-up comedy is usually an hour. But people had the time all of a sudden to appreciate it. But I guess, as we segue into that now, I guess this is what you do now. Kind of describe what that, from TikTok into, maybe more of a legit, more like formative, I don't know how you would describe that, but.
And as you said, landing the plane.
I don't know. I think you guys, first of all, you guys are really good at this. That was great words all around. Like you guys are good podcasters.
We don't do this for a living.
It's like really well said. It's weird, honestly. I don't know if I'm there yet. It's weird because I've done shows now with Bill Burr. I've done shows with Tiffany Haddish. I've done all these shows, and I'm like, shouldn't be here,
Yeah.
But then I got put there, So it's like, I guess I'm able to do it,
right?
And I've done it every time, and it's interesting because it did come from TikTok.
Yeah.
So it's bizarre, but I think that I don't know how to talk to the fact that like people are now able to like receive it better.
Mm-hmm.
It's bizarre. I think people are like able to have more of a sense of humor now, and they like want to be entertained in the like, they want to laugh. People want to laugh more now. I don't know about the long form thing. Like, I do not understand that yet, but I don't get it.
Yeah.
But
maybe that's just a me
I don't
thing.
I don't have the long form thing yet. But you look at an Andrew Santino or like a Tim Dillon, and I've talked to Tim Dillon about this. He's like, I popped off in 2019. He's been doing comedy for 15 years,
Right.
20 years.
Yeah.
And it takes this short term, the bits. Matt Rife. Look at Matt Rife.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, not Matt Rife currently.
Yeah.
But Matt Rife.
The bell curve of Matt Rife.
Matt Rife sold 600,000 tickets in an hour. And to do, yeah. That was his whole thing. Like, that's why he got his Netflix special. Because he posted shorts.
Wow.
So you get people hooked by those. And then you're like, okay, I want to see this long form thing. For me, I'm still figuring it out. I'm obviously going on tour in the spring. I'm still doing, when I go on tour, I'm going to be doing, the way that my show works is I do 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, but I bring other people with me. So I'm not expecting, because I've never posted any of my stuff online, my stand-up.
I know, and regrettably, I bought a ticket when you did an LA show, maybe 8 months in advance, hoping that, you know, my phone would notify me like, oh, you have a ticket, and you fully just missed it.
Oh,
was
so
like,
one of the shows in Malibu?
it was
Brea.
It was Brea.
Brea.
Oh, I'll kill myself. in front of you.
Yeah. I had a gun. I would have thrown it up to you.
right.
Yeah.
No, that was a good show. So it's bizarre. So this show is 11 cities. They all sold out. I had 2 shows in most cities, 3 shows in some cities, 4 shows in some cities. So I don't really know what the draw is besides trust.
Yeah.
They just trust that it's going to be an entertaining night. Like, I've never posted anything like of my stand up. So like, people are just like trusting that like they're going to have a good time. And I love it.
I think you built that ability to put out a kind of ticket or opportunity for your audience to participate in, and that almost back to the marketing side of things, that brand trust.
And you know what's fascinating about the brand trust thing is like getting people from online to physically show up somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a different
There's
level.
so much going on there too. To see someone that's like gonna go somewhere and do something. It's not John Mayer. It's some loser that like posted TikToks in 2020
Who got
at the
fired
beach house.
twice.
Yeah, who got fired twice. And they'd be like, I want to see him, and I have people drive hours to come see me, and not to like stroke my own dick. I don't know how to say it, I don't know, for lack of a better term. But
It's
like,
Texas way to say stroke your own ego.
yeah, ego is what I was looking for.
Ego
But like,
dick.
people
It's pretty-
show up, and it's amazing. It's so much fun, and like with the podcast too, like they hear so much more. I think the podcast is the big
Yeah,
kicker.
that's kind of the marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
And they like I'll talk about one of my shows, and it's sold out before I can post it on
Wow.
my Instagram. So I don't really know. I can't speak to the stand-up thing. Like, I write jokes the same way I write jokes for TikTok,
Right.
but I just like explain them better, and also the audience is really involved. Like, I don't do crowd work the same way Matt Rife does crowd work.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's very witty and everything, but they're just trusting that it's going to be a fun show, and they like want to come hang out, which is cool. Like,
Yeah.
that's as much as I can say about.
Totally. And it's probably a new medium, like you're saying, for
It's
you.
a new medium.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. Like I said, to like bring people out of the digital part, cross-platform, and then into it's a breaking the fourth wall to bring people
Completely.
physically to a physical place and
Completely.
like enjoy it. And also with the podcast, like a lot of people meet other people that listen to the podcast, and they have a lot in common, you know? So like, they're like,
Yeah.
we listen to this, we agree with this. And like, now we have a friend, and we have a lot of people that like in our Facebook groups from the podcast that like, are like, I met my boyfriend. I met my
That's incredible.
friends. I met my best
crazy.
friend group through your podcast.
Which has to be so fulfilling for you.
Oh my God. It's like makes me email. It's crazy. And they meet people physically at my shows, which is nuts.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's killer. I think, not to get too deep here, but what I've recognized in the great stand-up comedians or comedians of our time is, in many ways, they embody such a deep level of presence and awareness in their day-to-day that they can create bits or storylines that are humanizing and connective. And so I think for you, in creating an audience around that, you're putting out content that is humanizing and also connects us as people.
I need that sentence clipped and sent to me so I can say it over and over.
But that's it, right? I think that's really it, is like whether it's Dave Chappelle or Matt Rife or Connor Wood, you're able to create storylines and create content or humor that makes us really kind of form a deeper sense of identity or presence in our day-to-day, where it's like, oh shit, the job interview went shitty. I said shart instead of start.
Yeah.
Or I said X instead of, Y or Z.
Or
and
Z.
So I think that's genius.
Z as well.
It's simple, right? And anything in life, like the best things are simplified, whether it's on the branding or product front or
we're all doing the same
in a
thing.
joke.
Like we're all experiencing
That's
the
kind
same
of-
things day
yeah.
to day.
That's almost the sadness of growing up. You're like, we all do this.
But it's also like it's what you said. It's humanizing to be like, oh, they felt that, or like they're on the subway and they like experience the same thing. It's like, oh my God, no experience I have is singular.
right.
And
And on that note, here's a question for you, and just how you go about writing jokes. And I think that this is, transcendent across so many different industries or careers. But the irony, again, to use that word irony, but the irony is that, right?
Z.
well,
The irony is that essentially in life, as in work, or in your case, in your career in comedy, I think that we develop our best learnings, and we develop our best product from experiences and seeking out experiences. And so if you had to kind of balance out that kind of idea of like, you know what? There's a party tonight and I could go out, but I also could stay in. But if I go out, it could be a great kind of space
I
for me to
could
develop,
crack my head open.
yeah.
like content, right? Develop storylines. Like, is that
I hope
something
I'm
you
in a
balance
stand-up
or
special.
try to like juggle?
What's the question?
Will went back to his head lesion issue.
I just want to be in a stand-up special for my
Right?
head.
But so essentially the question is, I think in life, as in any career as well, like you form your best learnings from experience. And so for you to develop your best bits or storylines and content, it comes through experience, whether it be going down to the local laundromat or deli or going out to a party, halfway across town to, Hollywood, and there's a story that comes from it.
Right.
No, facts.
And that's why we're here.
So badly that
And that's why we're here.
I want to be so badly like a hermit that like paints.
Yeah.
But I know in my head that
Some
like
fucking wedding crashers, that like emo kid.
Dad.
That's Connor Wood.
I want to be that person so bad, but like I literally would suffer. Like my work would suffer
Yeah.
if I don't go out and like see things and do things. It sucks. And you're so right. Like I could sit inside and you can't write jokes inside.
Right.
What would you write jokes about?
Exactly.
No,
Your
I
new
do a
dog.
lot of observational humor, and I will tell you this: like, if there's anybody listening that does jokes, like, I bought Jerry Seinfeld's book. I bought Judd Apatow's book. Judd Apatow's book helped me a lot because, like, you like read things and you're like, I experienced that as well,
Yeah.
and then you're like, okay, I can write a joke about that. It was so weird because I was reading these books, and Tim Dillon actually like had messaged me. It was like, when are you gonna get on the stage? This was a year and a half ago. And I was like, I'm like reading some books about it.
Read some books.
I'm reading some books.
Go read some books.
I was like, and he's like, you gotta stop reading the books. You gotta go fucking do it.
Yeah.
How many times are you gonna read a book if you're not a tennis player or
Right.
like a golfer about your stroke? How much are you gonna learn from reading instead of going out and playing tennis or playing golf, or playing baseball, whatever? You got to go out and do it. You got to fail and you got to suck at it. And stand-up is like the most pure form of like, you got to suck at it. I lucked out right away and I didn't suck at it right away, but I found a way to suck at it like shortly after. And I did. I sucked at it. And I sucked at it last weekend.
Yeah.
But it's good because
Builds
like
character.
you suck at it and then you like are able to appreciate when you're good at it, which is crazy. Because like when I have a really good set, I'm like, it's crazy because after I sucked at it, I really thought that I could not do it again. And then you do it again and you're like, oh no, I just wasn't doing it right. I didn't tweak this or that.
Right.
And it's so similar to playing sports, which is so weird.
Yeah. What have been your you probably have so many, but what were your like first learnings of like, okay, I get on stage? Was it delivery? Was it?
I was about to ask on delivery because
It's
I
not-
think that makes it.
It's delivery. It's always delivery, but it's also like learning your audience is the biggest thing because I have jokes that land really well in Malibu. And then I have jokes that the same joke will flop in Hollywood, and I'll give you the exact joke.
Here we go.
Getting insurance, health insurance. So I gave this joke in health about health insurance in Hollywood, and then it fucking went crazy. It was amazing. I had a guy that has a Netflix special, and he was like, "You need to tell that joke all the time. It's amazing." And I was like, "Great, I'm hyped up." My managers were there, and they were like, "Do that joke again." I did it in Malibu.
Crickets.
To the people whose parents own
I
State
was
Farm.
about to say to the people
And
who
they were
don't
like,
know what insurance
"Oh,
is.
you don't have health insurance? Like, how do you not have health insurance?" I'm like, some of us like get kicked off at 26. I understand that your dad is Jake from State Farm, but like my dad isn't. I had to figure it out.
Jake from
like,
Guam.
There's like certain jokes. There's certain jokes that like you have to tweak or not tell a group of people, and like you just have to read the audience and like know who you're talking to. You know.
Yeah.
So that's been my biggest takeaway, especially as I go like into this tour. If I go to Denver, going to Denver, gonna be different jokes from Arizona or Texas or
Don't ask for a gun in Arizona.
I'm not gonna ask for.
Yeah, you don't.
I feel like they might have that.
They would throw
Arizona.
49 at you.
Yeah.
Some Western states, and then the majority of the Southern states just don't ask for a gun on stage. But okay, I have to say this. This is just I have to say it because I think again the parallel is so interesting with you really recognizing what jokes will be best for the right audience. It's no different than branding. For us, when we go out and do our shit, to know the audience or know the consumer base in a respective city or neighborhood or geographical region is the most important thing, because what works for us in Laguna won't work for what works, for the consumer base in San Francisco.
Of course.
Hence why your marketing and branding experience at an early age probably is informed and
It's
really
messaging.
It is messaging.
Yeah.
Totally.
It is, and copy. And honestly, like if you're talking clothes, styling.
Right.
You got the same style here. You style the same outfit here, and it goes, "Yes, queen." If you put the same clothes in Texas, it's like, "Yes, brother." You know what I mean? You got some camo on. You got a Carhartt jacket.
Yeah.
Switches.
Totally.
Yeah.
Switches.
It does.
Yeah, it lands different.
It does.
Have you, when was your first stand-up experience? A year ago.
Was it a year?
How many cities have you experienced? Don't count them, but like
Honestly, 5, maybe 6 this year, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's been successful enough that like my team has been like,
Let's do
we
more.
like see this demand. I did New York, obviously, a couple times. I did 4 shows in New York. They sold out 4 in one night in March.
Hell yeah.
So that's great.
It's awesome.
Brooklyn sold out 4 times.
Give me
So you have 4 nights back to back to back to back.
It's 2 both nights.
2 both.
shows.
Oh wow.
and this is at the Garden, right?
Bell House. Yeah, the Garden. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got Madison Square Garden. No one knows what's going to happen.
Have
I
you
go out and
like
fart in the mic and then walk home.
I'm interested because I think another progression for you coming off of social media as kind of this unique voice in the space could have also been acting. Was that ever part of the question?
Now it is. Now it is way more
There
than
have
it
been
was.
opportunities for you because I think that's
Yeah,
also
I could
another-
ask you about
There's tons of
something,
opportunities.
but-
I get some auditions, but I never get a call back.
Yeah, can we talk about what you and Tanner did? Kind of? Not really. Okay. Well, yeah, you and Tanner did some fun stuff that maybe people will see.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that has to do with
Connor's
acting.
like,
but how
I just
is
don't know if you can. I didn't say
yeah,
anything,
no,
but
that's
I don't think you,
yeah,
I don't
that's
think
fair
so.
enough. I kind of
That's great.
assumed. That's why I didn't go down that avenue until now. But how is that different? Like,
Mind-blowingly different. Like Tanner had it so calm. I was freaking out in my trailer.
Well, it sounded like Tanner showed up in a karate outfit.
I
He
told
did,
Robbie.
yeah.
I'm
He
sorry,
showed
I
up.
told
No,
Robbie.
it's fine. Like as long as we don't.
I don't
talk-
know anything other than that.
Yeah, true.
As long as we don't talk about the project, like I think it's fine. I'm just scared about those that have been working on the project that invite me on.
Right. No,
Right. Anyways,
Which is bold because I do not have an acting career either. So that was.
but is that something you're interested in?
I would love to. Yeah, I get the same role every single time. My role is early 20s / teenager, pothead country club boy.
Nepo baby.
So Outer Banks
So I
would have
just-
been a perfect.
So I'm like,
show.
do you want me to just like read the lines? I don't have to act. Like that's perfect. But yeah, I never get a call back, so I guess I should probably act a little bit.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's such a different skill. And obviously Tanner can attest to that too. Cause like even that world is like every cafe you go to, the barista's
Right.
an aspiring actor. So
Of
it's
course,
just such
yeah.
a saturated field. For a good reason. It's such a fine craft.
Another thing too that is a parallel to most industries, specifically in business, and this is my voice speaking on this, but a lot of entrepreneurs these days, or even CEOs, take improv classes because it's such a valuable skill. And so I think even in stand-up comedy
Right.
and acting, the improv skill and ability, you can do so much from that.
100%. I think like speaking on CEOs, like a lot of the CEOs really would like see a lot of value add from saying yes and. You know? So what kind of how's this going to affect our year-end bonus? Yes. And I'm going to be in Aspen for 2 months starting tomorrow. So let's talk in the new year.
And scene.
And yeah, that's kind of my experience with CEOs.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, I guess when can we come see you? When's your...
It starts February 29th. I think I'll be in San Francisco.
So you go down the coast of California.
It's like not in line at all.
I know.
it's like-
Why is that? Musicians do the same thing.
They did a deep dive into where it was requested and it was scattered.
Was it?
Yeah, so a lot of it goes, there's San Francisco. I already did San Diego. And then I don't even go to Texas, which is crazy. And then I go to Chicago, Brooklyn.
Yeah, sorry.
And
really
then I go back to Arizona,
testing your memory,
which is
yeah.
crazy. And then Nashville, I go back that way. It's weird. It's like a weird setup.
Okay,
I didn't have it memorized. I should have.
Okay, so on this tour, and I guess, from your experience thus far, where do the nerves kick in and where do the highs kick in?
The nerves kick in every single time I go to a show. Like, I hope I get in a car crash on the way there. Like, I hope I get T-boned so I can be like,
You hope Rhonda's pulling up with a bus?
I pray that I can post a picture in a hospital bed with like, sorry, I couldn't make it tonight.
Yeah.
So happy you didn't hear what Will said.
What did he?
I said, you hope Rhonda pulls up with the bus?
I hope Rhonda splits me in half. I hope that I show up to split my own head on a mantle.
So that the nerves kick in every show. I mean, I think any great
Right now,
performer has
I'm in a
nerves.
good spot right now. Like I bombed last week, which was crazy. That kind of sent me back a little bit. But I'm feeling a lot better now. Like I got some good stuff. People like it. Like I've done several of my own shows with my own crowd that like they're fans.
Yeah.
And they like.
It's a safe space.
I feel like I know them.
Yeah.
And like I get to hang out with them afterwards. I feel fine there. But like other people's shows that are big, I'm like, they fucking hate me. They're not here for me.
Right.
Right.
So it's
Like,
like
get this guy off.
yeah.
Does the high kick in on stage or after you're done?
When I see the light at the end of the tunnel, when I'm like, I'm almost done. I got my last joke that I know always hits. Go out there, hit it. They love it. And then I hop off. That's the best part of it.
Beers.
And then I usually have another show after. So I really can't have that many beers. That kind of sucks when I have another show after. And like,
How does that work? You go from one venue to the next, or
no, it's the same venue, but like people start filling in for the next show. And like people from the first show are like,
It's like a
no, let's
7-9
go.
pick.
Wait.
Like, let's hang out. And I'm like, oh, like I have to like go re-prep for the beginning.
That's something, and we're getting to the part in my brain where I'm like, the repertoire, or the questioning is starting to get to really cheap questions that are just me as a fan now. Does it get old telling the same jokes? Or is it
No,
like
they
a new
change
challenge?
every single time.
Do they?
Yeah.
Because like,
There's variations of it.
I tweak them a lot, especially like we talked about city to city. Like I tweak the jokes, of course. Like if they don't really land. I mean, my jokes for my crowd always land because they like kind of like.
they know you're
get me.
humor. Yeah.
But no, it doesn't get old because it's like when I see people laughing, I'm like, it's like being at a dinner, with your friends, and
Right.
you're like, oh, I'm gonna tell this joke.
Yeah.
Like, and I know what I'm gonna say. It landed last time.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so good. Or like in a group chat when you're like about
For
to
sure,
send like
for
the
sure.
funniest thing ever, and you get like 5 people like ha reactions.
Tap backs.
It's the same. It's the same high.
So much
It's
dopamine.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know when you send that text and you're like ha ha ha, like everyone's like reacting to it, and you're like
You almost like
Yeah.
walk away from your phone because you like,
You know
it's
it. You're
about to
you like
explode.
mic drop your own phone.
Yeah, literally. No, because I mean, this goes without saying, the Shane Gillis thing has really blown up.
Shane Gillis is the only person that I like have not a word to say it. No notes.
Yeah, like I always talk with my friends, and I don't want this to sound like whatever, but we always talk about like people we would get starstruck by, because in LA, you see people like whether you're at a cafe and
Would you even notice Shane Gillis? He seems like a
Dude.
7-Eleven employee.
absolutely, that's what makes me starstruck.
Yeah.
Is
That's
like
the best part,
it's
yeah.
like he's hidden in plain sight.
Yeah.
But I think about when you watch those stand-up specials, there's so much time and care that goes into those jokes, and so much like, okay, this landed, this didn't.
Talk about delivery with Shane Gillis.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But
He knows what he's saying. He does those same jokes every single time, and I feel like he delivers them differently every single time.
and my favorite part of Shane Gillis is when he does those like silent moments where he's yeah.
Yeah,
And
totally.
those are the moments, but like, yeah, I guess that's kind of where my
So
question
Nancy
was.
Pelosi's a bitch.
yeah. Dude,
But
unbelievable.
his facial expressions really are a part of his gig too.
100%. But like, it's funny because I'll show people that special and I'm just as excited. I guess this kind of answers my own question, is like, I know I've seen the special, whether it's the Austin one or the newer one, like every time I'm like, you haven't heard of Shane Gillis? Let's throw this on. It's the same. Like, I'm so excited for them to hear the joke that I already know.
Yep.
So I guess that's answering my own question. But yeah, what a interesting kind of dynamic where you're like having to refine and change, and while all at the same time telling the same, narrative or story.
I have 2 questions to follow up on that. We talked about excitement, or I guess nerves, and then we also talked about highs. As an athlete, as an entertainer, a performer, there are also lows. And so coming off of a stage with bright lights and an incredible response, do you experience certain lows that are...
Oh my God. Most of them are lows.
Which also, I think, again, speaks to the idea of the best art is made during difficult times.
Not my art.
I'm not paying.
No, I'll kill myself. No. I think most of it is lows, especially with comedy. It's like, oh, you want me to be,
Yeah.
Nemo. Think about Nemo's dad. He's fucking depressed the entire time. Find my son. I'm depressed. He's a clownfish. That's how I feel. I feel like Nemo's dad all the time. And I don't know why. Like, it's tough. Like, you have to write jokes. Like, you're telling people jokes. The jokes that you tell people aren't your day-to-day. Like, you're writing that shit.
Right.
Where do you write your jokes? Notes app?
Shower. In the shower.
I was just going to say, that's,
With
I
a
feel
shower
like,
beer with a Coors
speaking
Light.
of your fan base,
Your MO.
me being a part of it now, I know the shower. You've talked about different inventions like the shower notes app.
I have the
notepad.
waterproof notepad in the shower with a pencil that's waterproof as well.
Yeah, it's funny. Different artists have different, places.
Different strokes for different folks.
Right.
I always say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the shower, when I'm about to fall asleep is like the biggest time when I'm like,
Totally.
the best idea ever.
Pillow talk.
Do I like wake myself up with my phone light? I have to. Okay.
Yeah. Am I going to remember this in the morning? You never remember.
No, but
You
I
never
type
do.
it out. Like I had one note app that just said dirt. And I was like, what the fuck was I even talking about? Like, it sucks. But that's where it is. I don't, when I do my best writing, like It's when I have a crunch.
Yeah.
So I've had 2 big shows. Like San Diego was my biggest one, and San Diego I fucking murdered.
Hell yeah.
It was so good. But I was there at the hotel, and I'm sitting there, and 2 hours I think before my first show, and I was typing it out, my jokes, my intro, which is 20 minutes. And I was like, yes. And I was like typing it out, and I was like, this is gonna be fucking funny. And I like did it, and it worked. But like a lot of times I do that, and like it doesn't work. So
It's like writing a paper the night before. You're like, I have to get it done.
no, crunch time works for me every single time, and it sucks because like I would love to be, like a fortune feemster that like, obviously her stuff like works every single time, or like you can tell people that like I know I'm funny, like I have such Catholic guilt that I'm not funny and I shouldn't be in the room and on a stage, and so I like type my stuff and I'm like, I don't know this. Okay, fuck. Oh wait, that's okay. Yeah, let's try that. And I do all this shit, and then it works out. But it only works out when I have an hour left to type it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is there a performative nature to certain relationships that you've experienced thus far, where now that you're in a space of call it comedy and entertainment, do you feel at certain times pressured to perform and be funny? Whether it's on a dinner table with friends, or you're just yourself.
Yeah, I like have to.
It's like
I don't have to.
This is therapy now.
Yeah, I know that was such a therapy question.
I'm officiating
cracking his fingers.
I'm officiating a wedding in March, and I
just crunch time
so
it. Are you
stressed
really?
about that. Yeah,
just crunch time it.
It's one of my two of my best friends. This girl I grew up next door to. She went to UT Austin. She's the biggest one that like convinced my parents to let me go to UT Austin. They didn't want me to. They wanted me to go to Cal Poly. To circle back, but basically like senior year, they had gotten together and they were like dating and whatever, and I didn't realize that they would stay together long term. They did, and now they're getting married. And they've asked me, because we jokingly, me and my buddy got officiated. We got certified as ministers like in college, and I'm still a certified an official minister. And
just so a Friday night certifying.
They asked me, and she's very, very Catholic, and she asked me, she was like, would you officiate our wedding? And I was like, yeah, great. And then his dad reached out and was like, I can't wait to hear what you do. And I was like, I was just gonna read the Bible. I didn't know I was. Do
you take this lawfully wedded, and now you have to be like
this lawfully wedded lady.
Wedded.
No,
now you're like, what's the deal with cell phone?
To be straight up honest with you, I have no idea what I'm gonna do there, but I like need to crack some jokes in there. Light jokes, obviously nothing inappropriate because they're very Catholic, but that's a situation where I'm like, a lot of eyes on me.
You do this for a living.
In a high pressure situation.
Be funny, clown.
Yeah, right.
Tell us a joke.
Like poke
Nemo's dad.
Poke
the sleeping bear, I don't think applies here, but I appreciate your heads up.
I knew what you were saying. All right. Yeah. But that's great. I think that's
Dance Monkey.
Dance
Monkey. Yeah, that's another
I love that song.
Platform for you to feel out a crowd that's different, right?
Well, it'll be very different. We'll see if I flop. That's one I can't recover from. That's not like an audience where it's like, oh, come to my next show. It's like, we get married once.
Exactly, right?
So I got to be like very locked in.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So we'll see what happens.
That's the shower. You need to shower a fuck ton and write a lot.
I need to wash myself.
The shower thoughts and then the pillow kind of talk and conversations or whatever, like your ideas that come in those moments. It's
unparalleled.
Wild. It's wild.
I agree.
You're a big proponent of shower beers too. That helps it even further.
Beyond.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Will and I are going to wrap the 12er of Coors Light that we got tonight, but we have made a good dent in the whole project.
I think I drank them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did well. I'm trying to think what else is in the chamber.
There's so much. It's always so fun to.
Yeah, maybe we'll allude to another episode. But what do I got? I guess like I don't know. I'm such a fan of comedy. I want to know more about.
He is such a fan of comedy.
I haven't said this before
we had
yet.
a crazy conversation the other night after he cracked his head open. And I don't know if it was the CTE talking or maybe a concussion, but it was really special.
I think I'm most curious about what you're most excited about moving into the new year. This is a Christmas episode here. We should
Oh my
put
God!
Should
Merry
we-
Christmas,
a
everybody!
Santa or a hat on.
Should we do New Year's resolutions? I know you're huge on resolutions.
for sure?
I'm
Catholic
huge.
boy,
I'm
Texas.
huge on manifestations now because I moved to LA.
Meditation,
I think
manifestation.
my manifestations are a special. Hopefully, like next year, like by this time next year, like having the conversation.
Right.
on a special.
Maybe. I'm 2 years into this shit. I've only been out for 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. But
Is that Lil Uzi?
yeah,
Let's
I've
go.
only been out here for 3 days.
Yeah.
But I would love to have that conversation.
Right.
That's it. That's all I got. And manifestation space.
What up?
Manifestation space.
Space.
Oh my gosh. See, like I've had
Space.
4 beers. No, for sure. I haven't been driving.
What seems to be the officer problem,
Yeah.
right? But I think that's great. I think that's a great goal to have in the new
What's your
years.
goal? Robbie son.
In 2024?
Yeah. Ew.
I think
Oh my god.
Isn't that weird?
I know.
I've never
Thank
heard
God
that.
we're not in school and
I've
you're
never
like
heard
writing
anyone
the
say
date.
that.
Remember
I know.
writing the date and you'd like
And thank
forget.
God we don't write checks
We don't
That's
write
right.
anything.
in this space.
I don't really write.
yeah.
Well, anyways, actually I do, but it's like notes app. But
You
anyways,
guys, I had to sign my signature the other day. And I was like, am I having a stroke?
I feel like if I were to go in to get something notarized, Connor would just be that guy that like charges $25 at the local laundry.
How the hell are you? Sit down. Let's chat.
dude, I have an art project. You know those like, you go to a cafe and it's like they spin the monitor around and it's like, 20% tip, like 25% tip,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous.
For a coffee.
I like treat it like an art project. I'm like W smiley face, except like I have a lot of fun with those.
Yeah, it's great.
I just had a tip on my valet on that same thing.
Really?
Yeah, because I had to park for 30 minutes, $10 for the hour. They already had me pay.
It's
And I
the
was
most
like,
LA
and they
shit
had
ever.
me tip them in advance on a screen.
Dude,
And I was like,
Don't get
I'm
me
coming
started.
right back. Like I'm paying for the 30 minutes that you're requiring me, $10.
don't get me started.
And
The
I'm
thing,
paying, I had to pay them. The minimum was $3, and I was like,
I don't even know how you took care of my car. The
and
car
it,
could
and
be
it-
gone.
and
That's
it
what
was
I'm
parked
saying.
10 feet away.
yeah, that's what I'm saying is Postmates. I have a gripe with Postmates. You pre-tip. I don't know how fast they got here. I don't know if they delivered it
Well,
and
I'll
didn't
say,
spit
I'll
in
speak
it.
on that. They actually rate you now. Like you can get a faster driver if you tip more.
Really?
And
That's such bullshit.
I know.
Because like
Always choose the minimum.
it's
and
like
already high.
yeah, but it's like I order the small like a meal, the smallest thing you could possibly deliver, and it's like you want to tip $6.50, right? And I'm like, well, potentially, but that just depends how fast it gets here
You can
and how
edit
warm it is.
in
Though.
post, but that's the whole thing that's going on now. Is like a lot of people edit it in post. They tip a lot, and then they make it 0 once the person arrives,
Wow,
and then it moves them down to like least priority, so they never get a driver.
wow. See, I just hit the like either 18 or 15%. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay.
I have one more thought, and then I'm kind of capped.
I have to
but-
pee again. Yeah, so let's
I
wrap
have to
it.
be so bad.
So
I'm
Okay,
not
good.
bad.
Okay, here's my last question for Connor.
Hit me, brother.
Hit me, brother. In terms of inspiration, in terms of who you look to as, kind of influential people in your respective space, who have you referenced? I mean, Shane Gillis, obviously you have no notes, but who are other actors, comedians, entertainers that you really reference as role models and now, informs your work and what you do?
Oh my god, this sucks. This question sucks. Honestly, not your fault.
Hate this question.
But people ask all the time, and like, there's not been anyone that's gone from besides Matt Rife that's gone from TikTok to
Right.
doing
It's a
this. So
new
like, I don't
space.
really have anyone that I look up to in this specific space. So I don't know. No one.
It's a good answer. Original.
It's original, but like it's shitty because like it's not like I think that I'm God. It's
Right.
it's the fact that I have no one to look
You're
up
like
to.
uncharted territory.
I would love to have someone have already invented the wheel. No one's invented the wheel. I would love to hop on the wheel.
Yeah.
Let's
The
hop on
wheel.
the wheel.
I love wheels.
And it's funny because like I have like a team now for some fucking reason. Like I don't know why. Like there's so many people on my side, but someone is like, okay, who do you look up to? And all the time, and I'm like, I look up to a lot of people, but in this specific space, no one has fucking treaded the way,
Right.
unfortunately,
Right.
that I can't copy.
Yeah.
I would love to copy someone. That would make my life so much easier.
Right.
No one's done it.
Right.
No one's gone from straight up corporate TikTok on accident to doing stand-up and going entertainment full-blown.
Right.
So hopefully
Which makes you valuable. And
Hopefully,
original.
I look up to myself.
This is the Matthew
I am
McConaughey.
I'm proud of myself.
Okay, here's a good last question. Is UT back? Is UT winning it
UT
all?
is so Texas is so back right now.
Yeah.
Beyond.
What if they lose to Washington? Are they still back?
They're still back?
It's going to be
Yeah.
such a good game.
Yeah.
I'm so
They're
excited.
still back. I'll hopefully be there. I'll be there.
Just
Your dad
put
had it-
yourself as a physical trainer that diagnoses concussions as sleep-it-offs.
Yeah.
Will, do you think you're so back from your concussion on the mantelpiece?
I'm so back. I drove today and it wasn't blurry.
That's great.
I'm drinking beers. I'm fine.
That'll help.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
The only thing I will say, and maybe this will be my last thought, was the doctor asked when the last time I had a tetanus shot was.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
How did that come about? It's like,
Because she's like, I can't staple you up
got it.
because it'll get infected. So that was part of why I didn't.
Ask for glue.
Yeah. And I said, I don't know. She goes, here's
But
some
you're
Neosporin.
done now, right?
Yeah, I'm done. But I like milking it. I'll be like to my employer,
You're like milking it to me too.
sorry, Rob, can't show up to the meeting tomorrow. I'm concussed. No, but it's good. I feel great.
Good, you
I
look
told
great.
I told you before this. I think I'm funnier and smarter. I think you knocked some sense into me.
Oh my
great.
gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you so much for
And that was Connor Wood.
And that was Connor Wood. That's all I got.
I have to pee so bad.
Hey,
Let's
No,
wrap
you don't
really
understand.
awesome.
That's
quick.
why I'm sitting man spreading with my dick out, is that I have to. Your parents watch that?
Usually not till the end, so you're good.
Okay.
Hey.
My dad probably passed out on the couch by now.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I have to say, really fun to see you, Connor. Thank you so much
Rob,
for coming
thanks so much
down.
for having me.
Love
Thank
you,
you.
buddy. Will, thanks
Thanks
for
for
It took a team to get you
Taking,
down here.
one
It
for
took
the
a
team.
locksmith.
to get us going. And yeah, I'm sure we'll see you very soon.
Yes, sir.
Love you, boys.
Yes.
That was
Thank
super
you,
fun.
guys.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to Trading Cards. For more information, you can visit us at wilbousa.com or follow us at Wilbo. To join us at one of our upcoming events, please see the calendar page on our website, or if you're in the area, visit our Laguna store at 353 North Coast Highway. We look forward to seeing you.